was really difficult to go back, for a second and third time after feeling like I was defeated, that I wasn't good enough. But being able to have the courage and confidence to go back and do that, that's super important. We have to push forward as youth. Like, we are going to be the future.
Hey y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small town cowgirl with Southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and Western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best: "Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage." The cowgirl faces life head on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress, but she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and Western life may get along the way. This episode is brought to you by Space Cowgirl Marketing and Media, a one-stop space station for all of your solopreneur needs. Whether you have a complete functioning business and want to consult on how to level up, or you have nothing but an idea sparked from that random drive home last week, Space Cowgirl has the knowledge and services to help you conquer even the most far-off realities. My friend Lauren of Space Cowgirl Marketing and Media has been instrumental in helping me launch my dreams that were sitting on Someday Island into actual reality. I encourage you, friend, to visit spacecowgirl.com to take your ideas to the next level. Did you know that I have my own website? That's right. A little piece of the internet actually has my name on it. You can find it at www.dakotaDawnJohnson.com. And if you scroll to the bottom of the homepage, you can even sign up for my e-newsletter. It's just a little bit of encouragement that I send to all of my newsletter subscribers, and gives you that cowgirl state of mind right there in your inbox. So you'll be sure to check it out at www.dakotaDawnJohnson.com. Friends, welcome to another episode of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm really excited for the conversation that's about to unfold on this episode. We have Caitlyn Havelka, Miss Michigan State University Rodeo 2021 with us. Caitlyn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, it's kind of cool how this opportunity to have you on the podcast even came to be, and we'll get to more of that story in a minute. But in short, you're a rodeo queen, and you recently competed at the Miss Rodeo USA pageant. And I would just love it if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and what life currently looks like right now.
Well, my name is Caitlyn. I am the 2020-2021 Miss Michigan State University Rodeo. I grew up in a small town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Wallace. I currently go to school at Michigan State University here in East Lansing. I'll be graduating in May. Super excited for that. Just kind of wrapping up with school, doing everything rodeo related. We're going to talk later on about the upcoming Spartan Stampede and the last of my reign as Michigan State University Rodeo.
Yes, lots of exciting rodeo action that we'll be able to share with all of our listeners coming up. And I just whenever I hear you talk, it's kind of like me being from the South, and everybody knows like I have that voice. And with you being from Michigan, I love the way you sound. And one of my dear friends that I met when I was Miss Rodeo USA, she's from the East Lansing, Michigan area as well. So you remind me so much of her, getting to visit with you. And rodeo is such a small, close knit community, and it's just great that we have these opportunities to connect, and rodeo bring us together when we are geographically so far apart.
Exactly. That has been one of my favorite parts about being a rodeo queen, traveling all over, meeting new people, whether that be people that are in the rodeo industry or the spectators. And like you said, like the accents that you get to listen to, that is definitely one of the highlights as well.
So, Caitlyn, can you take us through kind of how you got started in what led you down the path of choosing to compete in rodeo queen pageants, and just what your horse experience has been like?
My family says that I was born in the saddle. My mom's side of the family has had horses forever. So kind of began showing in 4-H shows at a young age. I did showmanship, anything Western pleasure, horsemanship related, just having fun out on the trail. And when I was 8, my grandparents took me to my first rodeo. And the moment that the queen entered the arena to present for the national anthem, I was just in awe. And that's kind of where my whole dream started. Luckily, the following year, that same rodeo included not just their queen pageant, but added 2 other age brackets on as well, to include Little Miss and Princess. So I was old enough to compete in the Princess division that following year. And that's pretty much when everything took off. And ever since 2009, it's just kind of been my thing over the summer, over the course of the year, promoting rodeo, learning more about it, and just engaging others in the Western way of life and sport.
Well, I got to, briefly, meet you and be around you at the Miss Rodeo USA 2021 pageant held in, Miss Rodeo USA 2022 pageant held in Guthrie, Oklahoma, back in January. And I just loved getting to, hear your heart, like you said, for the sport. And you could tell that you, have some deep roots and love for the Western way of life. And tell us a little bit about your equine athletes that have been a part of this journey with you.
For my first pageants, when I was competing as a princess, I had my trusty old quarter pony named A Classic Story, but now he is nice and retired, definitely enjoying life. Typically, I'll just use him for some trail rides, but he was who I pretty much learned everything on. He was my first horse that I had on my own, because everybody else prior to that was I had to share with a sibling or I had to share with my grandma. So it was really awesome having him, just because he was mine. So getting to grow with him, learning more about Western pleasure techniques and learning to lope and things like that. And then I think it was around 2013, 2014 when I got the horse I have currently. He's now 19 years old. He's a quarter horse, and he is who I call my king. All of my queening, I have held 3 different rodeo titles in the UP, and he was who I took to all those rodeos, and he's my rodeo guy. He is it. So I love being home. My horses are both back home at my grandpa's house. So lucky that he takes care of them for me while I'm here at school. So I love going home, being able to see those 2 guys. Those are my people.
I love hearing you talk about them. You can just hear like the warmth and the love you have for them in your voice as you share just how instrumental they were in helping you with your rodeo queen journey. And for any of our listeners that maybe you're not familiar with, like what exactly like does a rodeo queen horse need to do, or what are some of the things that they need to be really good at? One portion of a rodeo queen pageant is horsemanship. So there will be different patterns that the contestants have to compete in. So a horse that's really great at that, will be able to, do flying lead changes and
just have a really good handle on them. The other side of it that is not so much the controlled environment in you, if you will, is rodeo queen horses. You need to be able to carry a flag on them. They need to be able to just be really well versed, like when they go in arena and hopefully they are not easily scared whenever, there's loud music or gates bang or things like that you would expect at a rodeo. That helps it make it a much more enjoyable experience for the rodeo queen riding them, and, safer, because when you're a rodeo queen, lots and lots of people and a lot of kids, want to come and talk to you and visit with you. And so having horses that really can kind of step up to that challenge and be mindful of their surroundings is really, really key. And so it sounds like King has done an awesome job for you in all those regards, Caitlyn.
He has, for sure. It feels like every year after winter, like being in the UP, like we don't get much time out riding in the middle of winter, believe it or not. So it feels like every spring we are starting from square one. But he picks up so quickly on it. We typically tie out at my grandparents' house a flag onto one of the fence posts so that he kind of gets used to it before I take it on horseback, just for safety reasons. But at the rodeo, he's been great. He has his moments sometimes. Everybody has their bubble, and he's definitely one of those horses that he doesn't like his bubble to be invaded. I don't blame him some days, but being able to spend time with those kiddos, like you said, at the rodeo is one of my favorite things. And aside from rodeo, we back home have what's called a horse camp over the summer, and introduce kids to horses that don't have that experience because they might be from, those smaller cities or households that don't have access to horses. And being able to bring him there and use him for that, so kids are able to get that horse experience with a safe horse is just a blessing.
Yeah, that is so cool how you're able to really give back in that way, to whatever community you're in, visiting, whether it's local or rodeo you're promoting. I love how you mentioned that. And that really kind of brings me to my next question, Caitlyn, is tell us more about your platform called Dream.Believe.Achieve, because this was a platform that you shared while you were competing at the Miss Rodeo USA pageant, and really how that ties back into your personal journey.
Yeah, so like you said, my platform at the pageant for Miss Rodeo USA was Dream, Believe, Achieve. We are all facing obstacles in life, whether that be people don't believe in us, we don't have the resources to maybe do what we want, whether that be in the rodeo world or not. We often, as a society, will give up, call it quits, throw in the towel. And one of the things that I really hated as a kid, but I am so thankful for, is my mom. She had this rule, and you were allowed one quit a year. And I remember the year that I wanted to quit dance, I had already quit something. So I had already used up my thing for the year. But she instilled in us early on that, like, if you're going to commit to something, you're going to commit to it and do 110%. So pushing forward in the face of adversity is super important, whether you want to or not. Maybe, we don't have those resources. Or one of my things for competing in rodeos was I've faced a lot of setbacks. We all have. Part of my story is that I talked about during my platform speech was I ran for queen 3 times at my local rodeo before I was crowned. It was really difficult to go back to, for a second and third time after feeling like I was defeated, that I wasn't good enough. But being able to have the courage and confidence to go back and do that, that's super important. We have to push forward as youth, like we are going to be the future. So making sure that we are instilling in our youth perseverance and the ability to push forward, and that confidence as well. And the other half to my story, I was born with cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease that affects my ability to breathe. So it's essentially a buildup of mucus in the lungs and other organs that can cause damage. And 2010, shortly before I was going to compete in a rodeo pageant, Rodeo Princess pageant, I had a doctor's appointment, and the doctor had told me and my mom that I should give up riding, that the risk of me falling off was too great. And after speaking with my cystic fibrosis pediatrician and, talking to others as well, like we came to the determination that my involvement with horses in the rodeo industry was what was keeping me healthy, like physically and mentally and emotionally. That's what was keeping me going forward. So, that weekend I ended up competing, and that was the first title that I had won. So I walked away after that weekend knowing that, like, I dreamt of being princess. I believed I could do it. My family believed in me. And after that weekend, I walked away achieving those dreams.
Oh, it just gives me like goosebumps, and honestly makes me teary-eyed, Caitlyn. Hearing you share that part of your story, because so many like valuable lessons to unpack there. One, I want to go back to like your mom and the one quit a year. I really, really like that. And just admire, that she instilled that in you and your siblings, because it is so important to, just, you can't quit when things get hard. Like you really have to stay hooked and persevere. And then, second, what an incredible life lesson to see it full circle at that early age. You were 10 years old. That's a huge moment at that early.
Yeah, I've had to grow up quick, and I think that's one of the great things that I've learned is just responsibility, and not only for my health but for my actions. And I mean, actions come with consequences, and if I don't take care of myself, like I won't be able to achieve those dreams that I have.
I'm going to dig a little deeper, and I know we hadn't really planned maybe to go this route, but for anybody listening, because you said two really important things there that, this doctor provided this basically said this is what he thought, but then you followed up with your pediatrician, and then obviously, your parents, help make that decision. But you said, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally, it was what was actually keeping you healthy. So if there's somebody listening, whether it's a parent or somebody young that has had the cystic fibrosis diagnosis, and then, had somebody tell them a similar situation, what you're dealing with right now, what advice could you give them?
I mean, you've got that support system, and if they're gonna back you, I mean, I'm lucky. I have that relationship with my cystic fibrosis pediatrician, my parents, my family. They're all really supportive of my dreams, and I couldn't be more blessed for that. But my advice would be like, you've got to let these kids go for it. Like they have dreams. If we're going to tell them no early on, that's kind of going to give them that mindset that they can't achieve it, or there's too many obstacles in their way. And that kind of goes against what I'm pushing for. I mean, dream, believe, achieve. Like we have to have people that support us, believe in us, and we have to believe in ourselves as well.
Wow, such a powerful message there. And it sounds like you're going to be well suited. I mean, you're wrapping up your master's in social work right now, and I can't wait to see you be able to, carry that platform, throughout all areas of your life. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people are even, familiar with when they think about a rodeo queen. And you have a platform that you promote that year, but a lot of times that platform, it becomes something that's really more like your life anthem, something that you really get behind and continue to promote long after you're a rodeo queen. And I see that being something that you'll be doing.
My platform is definitely near and dear to my heart, and is going to be something that wasn't just for this pageant at the Miss Rodeo USA pageant, but definitely will carry over, into my future career, and, essentially the way I live my life, the way I eventually raise my kids down the road, way down the road. But I think it's important that, we believe in what we're speaking about when we have these platforms as rodeo queens, because a lot of times they do tie into our everyday lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And this is, it's just it's so great to see somebody, in your generation, and I don't mean to sound old when I say that, but, just that generation that's coming up, that's really stepping out there and, using your voice in a positive way to, to help, bring awareness to this, but then also bring newcomers, to the sport of rodeo, because there's a lot of people out there that, while they may not relate to you in the ways of like, oh, the rodeo background or the cowgirl background, they may have that connection through the cystic fibrosis story or through this, dream, believe, achieve, whatever it is. So when you connect in that way, then it gives you the opportunity to share about our Western way of life. And I think that's, really the benefit of having a platform in general is really being able to connect the dots and draw that person back to where we can share about the sport of rodeo with them. And I would love to hear more about what your Miss Rodeo USA experience, was like competing just recently in January of 2022. Then I'll share a little more about how we got the opportunity to have you as a guest on the show.
My week in Oklahoma was I didn't really have words to explain it. I had so much fun. Walking into it, like there was a lot of girls, or 15 of us, but man, did we have fun. There are the interviews and the speeches and the modeling, but hanging out with the girls or going from event to event in the cars was probably like where the actual fun was had, or waiting, because if there's 15 speeches or 15 interviews and they're 10 minutes long, you're waiting a while. So we got to know each other really well. And I may not have walked around with this Miss Rodeo USA crown, but I walked away with 14 new Sash sisters and a whole committee and association that is now part of my rodeo family, which I am, that's all I could ask for out of the whole experience. And just some of those relationships that I have with the girls now, just, communicating with them on Facebook, Instagram, just being able to catch up with them after the pageant to hear how they felt everything went and their experience with it. Those are friendships that I'll cherish forever.
My hope and my prayer each year is that every girl walks away changed, that she walks away knowing something that maybe she didn't know about herself before, and making a connection that she really can take with her, throughout the rest of her life. And, that's really what, brought us together. Otherwise, I don't know that we would have had the opportunity to meet. And so, you actually won the Miss Rodeo USA and Cowgirl Confessions podcast social media contest. And this was new. It was a new opportunity. And, basically for all of our listeners, I really have a special place in my heart for the Miss Rodeo USA pageant and the International Professional Rodeo Association. And so one of the things when you are a rodeo queen, social media is so important these days, and knowing how to use it as a tool to where you can promote not only, the sport of rodeo, but sponsors and contestants and just all the things, to help grow awareness. And so I, wanted to put out the opportunity for, the contestants this year to actually, promote the Cowgirl Confessions podcast on social media. And they were given some guidelines, and then very open-ended guidelines to where they could get creative and share the podcast, because it's really that niche audience. We want to grow the awareness, of this podcast and share the cowgirl state of mind with women across the globe. And so I thought, what better way than to, let these young women that are great at promoting rodeo anyway, let them take a shot at this and share this with all of their followers. And so, Caitlyn, there were 3 judges that were separate from the pageant judges that, picked you as the winner of this contest. And so that's how, you ended up here today getting to share your story. And I'm just so thrilled, because you have a lot of depth to you, a lot of experience, and I know that you're going to be able to go forward and make a difference.
just on that note, like as far as the post had went, that was probably one of my favorite posts we got to make all week. The Miss Rodeo USA Association is, different than other associations in the rodeo industry, being that, it's a week-long pageant, but you do have limited access to your phone to make these posts for sponsors, and to promote the International Finals Rodeo. And I had so much fun making the post. I think one of the reasons why is the podcast that we were actually promoting was Cassie Vaughn, one of Michigan's breakaway ropers, which I think was so cool that I was able to promote, our Michigan, Team Michigan, and along with International Finals Rodeo, IPRA, and the Cowgirl Confession podcast. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, well, you did an exceptional job, and just you understood the assignment, and really being able to share it in an authentic way, really inviting way, and that podcast is now ranked in one of our top 5 episodes because it was just strategically we worked to make sure that we were having you gals promote it and share it with people that are part of that industry. And so I just want to thank you. You did a great job, along with all of the other contestants that promoted the podcast that week. I greatly appreciate your support. And it's a long week of competition, but like you said, even though you didn't walk away with the crown, you walked away with some really great experiences. And how cool that you got to watch a fellow Michigan cowgirl, compete in the breakaway rope in there as well.
Exactly. I think one of the things that we all really enjoyed as the week was winding down was that we were able to go to the performances and root on, the cowboys and cowgirls from our state or maybe our region. And being able to cheer on all of our Michigan representatives was definitely a highlight and something that I don't think many people get to experience.
Now, the title that you are getting ready to hand down, because like I said, you're the Michigan State University Rodeo Queen right now. Is this going to be your final Rodeo Queen title?
It will be, yeah.
Okay.
This started in 2009. I'm winding down with school, and I think my thing going into the Miss Rodeo USA pageant was I wanted to end things on a high note. And I figured what better way to do that than on a national stage. So, that was my last pageant to compete in. I will be passing off my crown, on Saturday, the 19th. So things are winding down, but at the same time, I am beyond busy with promoting the Spartan Stampede with news interviews, radio interviews, and just getting everything together to make this come together. And, the whole board and the whole club for Michigan State University Rodeo Club has been working so hard all year long. We didn't get to have a rodeo last year for 2021 because, world was still kind of in a weird spot. So we are so excited to have the rodeo back this year, and it's looking a little different. We've got, we didn't have the rodeo, so we lost a lot of our members that, aged out and graduated, but we are super proud of the group that we do have. And we are one of the only IPRA affiliated rodeos or sanctioned rodeos that is completely put on by students. And being a 7-time IPRA Indoor Rodeo of the Year, that says something about how our students are and what effort we put in. And I couldn't be more blessed to be a part of that team.
That is so interesting, for one, and just absolutely incredible when you think about, you said 7-time IPRA Indoor Rodeo of the Year. That's a big deal.
I truly adore seeing other women in business take action on ideas and sharing their gifts with the world. And I'm excited to announce that this year's Space Cowgirl Marketing and Media will launch into a whole new dimension. After helping solo and entrepreneurs for the past 5 years, my friend Lauren realized that most business owners need to learn many of the same skill sets she has in order to be efficient and maximize their marketing budgets. With that in mind, She's created step-by-step digital products and courses to help far more solopreneurs launch into their dream lives than she's able to do on a client-to-client basis. The products are set to begin rolling out April 1st, so hop on over to spacecowgirl.com and subscribe to her email so you don't miss any launch updates. In the meantime, you can learn more from Lauren and ask her questions by joining her own clubhouse in the Space Cowgirls Connection Rooms, where she talks about all things business, entrepreneurship, and launching into the future. I hope to see you there. You can find the link in our show notes.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the rodeo club.
I actually started off at a junior college in the Upper Peninsula, and the moment I transferred down, I immediately sought out the club. I, love rodeo, and that's where my passion is. So I knew that was the first club that I had to join. And that first year was 2018, and I worked with the club and helped prepare for the rodeo. And that year we were one of the top 5 and actually got to go to Oklahoma. And that was my first time being to the IFR. That was just a neat experience. And I think that's where my goal of getting to Miss Rodeo USA was. But working with the club has been a blessing. And my second year in the club, I was able to be on the executive board. I've been a graduate advisor the last 2 years, just kind of guiding our younger members in the executive board along with some of their decisions and planning. A lot goes into a rodeo, and like being a queen, like I kind of had an understanding, but you learn so much when you're actually like planning in the nitty gritty, like getting sponsors for the rodeo and for yourself. Like there's a lot that goes into it, and we take pride in the rodeo that we put on. And like we're all students, we've got full class loads, but we do a phenomenal job with working with our advisors, our stock contractor, our contestants, our spectators, and we're all learning such valuable lessons. I think that, being in a college club is so important. And this one, the Rodeo Club, like it's definitely one of the top clubs in Michigan State University for sure.
I really, really loved so many things you said right there. And, on this podcast, we talk about like navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. And really the whole idea is, learning how to kind of juggle that all, whether you have kids or you're married or you're not, like, just like you said, there's a lot to juggle when you're a student. And then when you get out into, when you're not in college anymore, I don't want to say when you get out into the real world. I used to really not like it when people said that when I was in college. I'm like, I'm in the real world. I'm just juggling college on top of it. But, I just think there's so much to be said for that, because it's a skill. Learning how to prioritize your time and, show up even when you're tired or things are hard, and work with other people. Those are some really great opportunities that, you, as well as the other people that are parts of that club, have had. So just really great to hear you share your insight on that. And can you share with us where people can go to find out more, about the Spartan Stampede?
You can find it on my Facebook and Instagram too, but primarily the Michigan State University Rodeo Facebook website. Our tickets are for sale through the Wharton Center, and you can get tickets in advance off the website by calling the office. And definitely a performance or performances that we aren't going to want people to miss. Definitely going to be a show that people are going to want to attend.
Yeah, well, especially, after not being able to have the one in 2021, I'm sure people in the area and surrounding areas are excited to get back and see that rodeo action right there in Michigan. I have so enjoyed getting to visit with you today, Caitlyn, and you've just been a breath of fresh air. And I would like to wrap it up today with you just sharing with us what the cowgirl state of mind, what that phrase really means to you.
Cowgirl state of mind embodies everything about the Western way of life. It's helping others who need a hand, not giving up when you're faced with your own set of challenges. Cowgirls are, hands down, in my opinion, the most courageous beings on the planet.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And Caitlyn, where can everybody go to follow along and connect with you as you wrap up this Rodeo Queen chapter, but move on to the next thing, continuing to promote your platform, Dream, Believe, Achieve?
People can go ahead and follow me on Facebook, Miss Michigan State University Rodeo Queen. I also have an Instagram page as well. Everything's kept up to date on there, and that's definitely where people can find everything about me, my platform, and what I stand for.
Awesome. Caitlyn, thank you so much. I'll be sure to put that in the show notes, and it's been wonderful getting to visit with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.